Hi guys, welcome back to Strange Recapped.
Today we're gonna be covering a 2018 American psychological horror film called Braid, which is also known as Nobody Leaves. At the beginning of the film, three blood-spattered women are seen digging up the ground. After digging up a significant hole, they throw in a few plastic bags filled with mutilated body parts and sit to catch their breath. In the next scene, two drug dealers, Tilda and Petula, are seen packing up drugs to sell. A moment later, police sirens are heard in the background. The police soon arrive at their door and ask them to open it immediately. The girls start to panic. They leave their drugs on the floor in haste and flee. They get on a train to leave the place. Petula goes to the bathroom to make a call. A policeman squints at her as she passes by him and follows her. She tells the drug dealer, Coco, on the phone that she and Tilda narrowly escaped the police and all their stuff was taken. The policeman from the train starts knocking at the bathroom door. When Petula opens it, he remarks that she looks familiar. Petula stares at him for a minute and then pulls him into the bathroom. The policeman starts calling her goddess, indicating their dom-sub relationship. Petula offers him 20 minutes of playtime to let her and her friend go without tickets. The policeman agrees and she gets busy with him. Petula returns after a little romp with the policeman and sits with Tilda. She pulls her chewing gum out of her mouth and sticks it under the seat. The screen shows rule number 1: everyone must play. To pay their drug dealer back, Petula and Tilda decide to go to Daphne's house, their unstable and wealthy childhood friend. While getting in a car to leave, a homeless man by the roadside tells Petula that she'll return, as she always does. Petula stares at him in confusion before Tilda pulls her away. Petula tells Tilda that they have 48 hours to find Daphne's safe and escape her house with her money. She further tells her that once she sets foot in Daphne's house, she must do everything Daphne says. They'll have to play Daphne's game, the one she always forced them to play as children. The girls' childhood is then shown, in which they sit in Daphne's treehouse. Daphne tells them they'll play Doctor again, where Daphne always took the role of Tilda's mother, and Petula took the role of their doctor. Tilda refuses to play the game and a fight starts between her and Daphne. When they arrive at Daphne's house, Tilda, who's now in a school uniform, gets inside the house and starts role-playing as Daphne's daughter. Daphne greets her and happily starts playing along. Petula places hers and Daphne's phone in the letterbox outside and makes her way to the house as her voice is heard in the background, dictating the rules. Rule number 1: everyone must play. Rule number 2: no outsiders allowed. And rule number 3: nobody leaves. Petula appears at Daphne's door in men's clothing. Daphne happily invites her in and asks her to give her daughter a checkup. Petula starts examining Tilda using the tools she brought along with her. Tilda seems extremely displeased by the game and seems reluctant to play. When she refuses to play along and reacts to the test by Petula, Petula hits her knee hard with a hammer, making her bleed. This shows how obsessed Daphne is with her little game. At dinner time, Daphne is serving food to the doctor and her daughter. Tilda has been tied to her chair by Daphne for her disobedience. When Daphne goes to the kitchen for a while, Tilda asks the doctor to pass the salt. When Petula goes to her, Tilda tells her there's not much time left, thus they should get the money ASAP and get out. Daphne comes outside just then and seeming displeased by their gossip, she escorts Petula upstairs to her room. Later that night, Petula goes downstairs to get a glass of water. In the kitchen, she finds Daphne. Daphne gives her water but then refuses to let her leave. Completely absorbed in the game, Daphne makes Petula have simulated sex with her. The next morning, Petula catches Tilda trying to take her phone from the mailbox. She forbids her from doing it, saying it can get them caught. She tells her they'll soon find the safe and pay Coco back. Until then, they need to play. Petula then tells Tilda about the previous night, saying Daphne made her have sex with her. Tilda starts laughing hysterically and starts teasing Petula about it. They both pop pills into her mouths after this and get extremely high. Petula leaves to look for the safe and Tilda starts wandering around under the influence of drugs. Tilda starts seeing their childhood, where all the girls are happily running around the house. She follows them and sees them in their treehouse. The young Daphne and Petula start a fight in the treehouse because of the game. Daphne insists on playing it but Tilda refuses to play. During the fight, Daphne is thrown off of the tree. In the next scene, the girls are shown in the hospital outside Daphne's ward. When Detective Siegel asks them what happened, Petula gives him a weird keychain, indicating Daphne got scared of it and fell out. Daphne is shown in her ward as our doctor's voice in the background says that she will never be able to conceive due to her injuries. In the present, Daphne is shown in her bathroom. She opens her cabinet to reveal stacks of pregnancy texts kept inside. She pulls one out and starts smiling at it. Petula, who's also under the influence of drugs, wanders Daphne's house. While she's crawling on the floor on all fours, a hand emerges from a door and burns her arm with a hot metal object. She scurries away and runs through a corridor. The corridor surprisingly makes her feel like she's back on the train. She finds Daphne's keys in a room and runs out to flee with Tilda. However, while they're both standing near the car, trying to open it, Daphne comes behind them and knocks them both out with blows to the head. Rule number 2 is shown on the screen: no outsiders allowed. Detective Siegel drives to his office in his car. The weird-looking keychain given to him by Petula all those years ago is hanging in his car. At his office, he gets a complaint via phone call and goes to pay Daphne a visit. Daphne is sitting with Petula and Tilda, who she has bound and gagged with braid-like ropes. She hears a knock at the door and goes out to check. At her door, she finds Detective Siegel, who tells her that her neighbors have complained about strange noises and screams coming from her property. Daphne tells him she's been stressing due to the departure of her grandparents lately, which is why she sometimes tends to cry out at nights. Siegel remarks that it's strange how both her grandparents died simultaneously and pays her his condolences. He then asks her about Petula and Tilda. Daphne tells him she hasn't heard from them in ages. Siegel ends up calling them both dangerous, which infuriates Daphne. She lashes out at him and admonishes him for his views. She says the world will now know their worth because they'll never go back to it. Siegel gets suspicious because of this. He tells her that the news of them missing had not been made public yet and asks her how she knew they were missing. Thumping sounds are then heard from Daphne's house. Siegel turns to check, but Daphne tells him not to go inside unless he has a search warrant. Siegel tells her he would return with a search warrant if the complaints are heard again. After Siegel leaves, Daphne nails all her doors shut. She then celebrates the girls' safety with them. Daphne sends Tilda away to wash her hands and tells Petula that she knows what she's there for. She tells her a riddle, a clue to the safe. You'll waltz about with my dolls into our rotting mansion's halls, look for signs along the way, and let the mirror end your days. And the grave will open wide when you shatter time's spell. Daphne tells Petula she'll let her go if she finds the safe. The confused Petula asks her what she means, but Daphne just keeps laughing and repeating the riddle. Petula starts running through the house, trying to figure out the clues. Thinking about the first clue, waltz with my dolls, Petula runs out to the statue kept in the garden. She lifts it up to reveal the words, our rotting mansion's halls, along with the number 07. She goes to Daphne's hall and follows the cracks in the roof to a mirror. When she draws the blinds, words appear on the mirror written with fluorescent dye, shatter time spell. The number 24 is written under this clue. She goes outside and removes the calendar from the wall. Under it, she finds the safe. She uses the numbers written with the clues as the combination to the safe and successfully opens the safe. She takes all the money and runs to Tilda, who's writing in her journal. Petula takes Tilda along and leaves the house. While Petula is crazily trying to get a passing car to stop, Tilda seems unperturbed. The girls get in a fight because of this and start furiously yelling. Just then, Daphne comes in her car and runs Petula over. The screen shows rule number 3. Nobody leaves. Petula wakes up restrained to a chair in Daphne's house. Seeing her finally awake, Daphne takes her to Tilda's room, where she's locked in a cage. When Petula asks why she brought her back even after she won the game, Daphne tells her that she only allowed her to leave, not Tilda. Besides, she says, the game is not over. Daphne walks around Tilda's cage as she tells them that she was the one who poisoned her grandparents, simply because they wanted to get her a caretaker. Daphne then forces Tilda to watch as she gives Petula a Glasgow smile using a shaving tool. At Siegel's office, the homeless man from earlier comes and tells him that he saw the missing girls at the station. Daphne comes to the girls and tells them they can now leave as the game is over. She then starts telling them everything she'll do to prepare her house for her baby. Tilda tells her she can't be a mother, but Daphne tells her she's pregnant and has a baby on the way. Tilda scoffs and asks her whose baby she's bearing. Daphne tells her that she bears the doctor's, Petula's, baby. Tilda starts laughing hysterically at this, but Petula sees her chance and tells Daphne that she needs to perform a surgery on her for the baby. Both the girls take Daphne inside and get in scrubs. In the meantime, Siegel arrives at Daphne's house and starts looking around. The girls put Daphne on the table and grab surgical tools, but just when they're about to attack Daphne with them, Siegel arrives and tells them to surrender. As he approaches the girls, Daphne gets up from the table and stabs him in the back. She proceeds to hit him over and Tilda happily joins her. Petula watches them in horror at first but eventually joins in. They all then dig up a hole and bury the detective's body parts inside. After this, they throw his car in a nearby lake. The girls start spending quality time together after this incident. They are seen enjoying a meal together dressed as the characters they play, and Petula realizes that her Glasgow smile scars have miraculously disappeared. Everyone seems to have accepted their roles and they happily play their character. While they're peacefully enjoying their day in the garden, Tilda and Daphne leave Petula in the park and disappear. Petula goes to look for them, but she's suddenly shown the blood-spattered body of Seagull. She backs away, terrified, but Daphne and Tilda come to her just then and the body disappears. After this, Petula finds the detective's keychain in the letterbox. This shocks her greatly as she clearly remembered throwing it in the water with the car. She goes to dig up the spot where the detective was buried but finds nothing there. Alarmed, she comes back to the house and starts looking around. She looks under a bed to find several bubble gums stuck under it, just like the seat in the bus. She pulls Tilda's journal from under the bed and starts reading through it. She finds everything she remembers written in entries from a long time ago. In addition, Tilda had written that Petula is still trying to escape but Daphne will get her, just as she always does. It was written that they pretend to let Petula escape but she always comes back for the safe. As she flips through the pages in shock, Daphne comes to her and tells her she's glad Petula found the journal. Maybe this way, she says, she will stop the cycle of running, forgetting, and coming back. Petula asks her how long she's kept her there. Daphne tells her to look at her arms. Petula rolls up her sleeves to find several burn scars on them, each of which Daphne explains she gave her for each time she attempted to escape. Petula breaks down after hearing this and throws a fit. She starts trying to run out but Tilda holds her at the door. It is revealed that Tilda had always been in on Daphne's plan to keep them at the mansion. Tilda sends Daphne to her room as Petula sits at her feet, crying. Just then, Petula's phone starts ringing. She tells Tilda it's from Coco, their drug dealer. Petula answers the phone but Tilda repeats her exact same words into her phone, indicating this has been repeated several times. Tilda then reveals to her that Coco is a made-up character who was created by Tilda and Daphne to lure Petula back. Tilda tells Petula that they're all unfit for the outside world. They have everything in this mansion and they should stay there. It is revealed that everything up till this time happened at Daphne's mansion, including Petula's trips on the bus. They kept playing round after round of their game and always ended it to start over again. After Petula calms down a little, all the girls go back in and lay together. All the girls then take their lives. Tilda slits her wrists, Daphne drinks poison, and Petula hangs herself. Later, an old Daphne is seen at her mansion, doing the dishes. An old, wrinkly hand rings her doorbell and greets her, calling her Mom. Daphne stops and smiles. This reveals that the suicide was just a pretense and was actually just the end of another round of their game. The girls have continued to play this game year after year, and still continue to play it.
The movie ends here. Hope you guys enjoy the movie. Thanks for watching guys, subscribe to our channel.